Are they called chakras or chakras? Doesn't really matter, whichever you prefer. I've heard them called both, but in this video, we are going to light you the heck on fire. I mean, metaphysically, of course. We're gonna talk about how do you have energy, feel self-aware, feel confident, feel integrated, using an ancient system known as the Bro Science Guide to Chakras. We're gonna have some fun. Whether you're an expert at chakras, you know all about them, or if it's your first time, I wanted to make this video accessible to everyone, so you will definitely get something from it. I'll switch to the Steadicam and give you a quick overview of each one of these in this video now. We're gonna go through what the chakra is used for, then we're gonna go over the location of it in your body. We're gonna go over what emotion that corresponds to you and why this matters, what happens if it is balanced in you, what you can experience or expect to experience, and some signs that it's not balanced. Much easier to throw these off balance than you would think. And if any one of these are not balanced, you're gonna experience problems, and this video might show you why. Let me first give you an analogy, because you're like, what are chakras? Why even bother with this? Well, it's kind of like an engine in a car. That's the easiest way to understand it, right? What happens if one of those pieces of the engine is out of balance? Well, the other ones have to work hard to make the engine run. And then the car can have problems, like my 1965 Mustang right now. It's getting like $7,000 in repairs. You can tell it's not really bothering me. My point is that when all the pieces of the engine work together, that's how the car moves. And in motion, that's energy. So it's the same thing with you. When all the centers align, all these chakras right here, your energy is flowing and you perform well. But if any one of these 7 that we're gonna go over are out of balance, can throw the whole thing off and you stay stuck. I was talking to one of my mentors, Paul Chek, who I really respect. Sounds like I'm giving him a rap shout out. Paul Chek, I really respect. Promise to never do that again. He said something that absolutely blew my mind. I mentioned that there were 7 main chakra centers. Now, depending on who you go to, there can be 8 to 32 micro ones around your body. Not important. What is important is the 7. Well, how many colors are in the rainbow? 7. You're like, that's not really mind-blowing, Clark. Well, here's what is. If you've watched our videos, you know that musical notes and everything vibrates at a frequency, right? When you vibrate the notes times the speed of light, you get a color. And if you know anything about music or harmonics, in the scale do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, that's 8 right there. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, that's 7. So multiply each one of those by the speed of light and you will get, what do you think? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. That's called the light sound bridge. I love the synchronicities of life. I geek out on it, all that stuff. And I think that that one thing just blew my mind. We're starting from the root up, baby, because if your foundation ain't there, doesn't really matter. Coming in at number 7, you got the root chakra, okay? Just like that musical scale I went over, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do, it's at the root. This is about your first 3 vertebrae in your spine. So it's at the very, very root. Its purpose is survival. Okay, this is the energy center associated with survival. So very basic needs, things like water, safety, shelter, food, hunger. Anything that threatens your survival is down at the root chakra. This is where it's affected. If you know anything about Abraham Maslow, one of the godfathers of positive psychology, he had the hierarchy of needs. I've showed you that on this channel before. And it's very similar to chakra systems, just more Western, and people accept it because these can be a little woo. But at the bottom of his is survival needs. These emotions that if these aren't met, doesn't matter, you can't ascend up. If it's balanced, you're gonna have a lot of peace with your future. You're gonna feel grounded. Most of us, if you're in a first world country, you don't really worry about this too much. Extreme trauma and life circumstances threaten this. And if it's not balanced, you'll have some of this. Overactive is greed or material possessions, being obsessed with that stuff for the wrong reason. So if you want to make money, there's nothing wrong with that. You can be rich, you can be spiritual at the same time. Money is energy, money is spiritual in my opinion. But if you're over identified with material stuff and you're greedy at all costs, that's a big red flag, pun intended, because that's coming from over excess need for survival, for resources. You're hoarding it. Make sense? How do you fix this? What are some things? Well, this video isn't gonna geek out on how to go through each one. That would just be too long and no one wants to watch that. For all of these, it's worth mentioning there are crystals that help with these. If you believe that or not, there's sound therapy, so different frequencies you listen to, like I mentioned, the light sound bridge, right? You can listen to those. There's checking in and identifying where your problems are with these chakras and doing that. There's Reiki healing. One of the things to get really good and grounded is going outside and stepping your bare feet on the grass. When you do this, you're getting the negative ions from the earth, and it's going to remove positive charged particles from you inside, which a lot of the toxins and poisoning and heavy metals, they have a positive charge. And so it'll act like a magnet and just suck it right out. Pretty cool. Moving on. Right here, we got orange. Fun fact, in college, I was a male cheerleader and we were the orange men. We'd wear these prison jumpsuits and we'd run around at the basketball games. It was a private college, so we were the rowdy frat boy orange men. This is associated with sexuality, and after just telling you that story, you might be questioning mine. It's located around your navel, and this is called the Sacral Chakra, okay? It's associated with sexual energy and your sexuality. Passion, joy, positive association with sex, good sex life. This stuff is a balanced sacral chakra. Now, I know the dudes out there, you're like, oh, I got a super balanced one, man. He said that, like I'm all there. Not so fast, because a lot of times, too much emphasis on sex or sexual energy can actually show an imbalance. Either not enough or too much, so low libido, or overactive can be an imbalance here in this chakra. Another sign of it not being balanced, if you have a lot of shame or guilt around sex, or if you watch porn and it doesn't make you feel good. Look, I'm not telling you what to do. You can do whatever you want. We're all functioning adults. I don't care what you do in the bedroom. To each their own. I'm not going to judge. But just check in there. If you are watching a lot of porn, that's going to disrupt this sacral chakra, because no one watches that and then after is like, I'm crushing it. I feel awesome about myself, right? It's a very low vibrational state that'll suck you down, and that's the real trap of it. God isn't going to kill you for touching your genitals. Your hands aren't going to grow hair on them. The real downside is what you do to yourself, and that's the aftermath, which is the guilt and shame that come with it. Make sense? Next up, we got your solar plexus, man. This is located right here in my six-pack. Girlfriend says the only six-pack I have is a pack of Michelob's at night. It's not beach season yet in Arizona, so I got an excuse. The emotion your solar plexus are associated with are wisdom. Okay, think about that. You know, I told you digestion, all that stuff, but what's right here besides my Adonis physique? My eyes are up here, okay? Your gut. And what do they call something when you're trying to get really intuitive? You know, you should trust your gut. You got to listen to your gut instinct. Gut instincts are so powerful because that's your inner wisdom right there. And you know, I was reading this book that's not the easiest thing to read unless you like CSI and SVU and all those shows, called The Gift of Fear. And it's all about gut instincts and how powerful fear is when you listen to it at your gut. That there's accounts of women who in the book, they open the door for a stranger coming into their apartment building and they're like, this doesn't seem right. I don't like something fishy about this dude. I shouldn't get in the elevator with that guy. But they do it out of politeness and wanting to not offend people. And then they end up being like some serial murderer and they have to like run across the other room, hide, and then make a mad dash out the door and escape for their life. Gut instinct's so powerful. There's also a gut-brain connection. You are more bacteria than cells in your body. Billions, if not trillions of little microbes functioning in there that absorb all the nutrients and feed it to your brain. They can also have hormones in your gut. You know, most of your serotonin, the feel-good, happy hormone, it's not produced in your noggin right here. It's produced in your gut, 90% of it. Isn't that fascinating? So before I get ranting and raving about the gut and turn this into a nutrition video, purpose, self-worth. If your solar plexus are balanced, that chakra, you're gonna have a lot of self-worth. You're gonna feel on purpose for things. If it's out of balance, you're gonna have a lot of judgment towards people. If you constantly find yourself gossiping or complaining, or like someone comes up online on social media, right, and you just judge them and you go to their profile and you stalk them, you're like, why are they doing this? Not that I've ever done that, right? I'm sure you haven't either, right? But that comes from this being disaligned. And lastly, if you have a them versus me vibe with people, like you're in a group and it's like all of them are out to get me, or everyone's talking about me, or it's them and they all hate me, and you get in your head about that, that's an imbalance here in your solar plexus. One quick tip on how to realign this: deep breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. So where your belly comes out and it goes back in. And we have a breathwork exercise video on here that's fantastic. I walk you through 3 sets of breathwork that I got personally from Wim Hof. He taught me how to do it, and I'm showing you. There's also some Ayurvedic breathing in there as well. And call it whatever you want, doesn't matter, it works. So if you want to get high on your own supply, that breathwork video, watch it after this, try it for 10 minutes. It's free to do. You don't have to do anything but sit there and breathe. What do you have to lose? And that will knock you off your rocker. Let's talk about your heart chakra right here in the middle of your chest. Now notice something. it is green. It is not red, it is not pink, the associations with your heart, it's green. Much like nature is green, the heart of life, everything, right? Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, said that when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you start to rot. So you never want to stop growing. You never want to stop being green. Function is to regulate all emotions, okay? So all your emotional centers will come from your heart chakra, your heart center. Some signs if it's balanced. These are love for yourself. So if you love yourself, that's a good sign that it's balanced. And then naturally, that'll extend out to love of all. So if you love the people around you, if you're a very loving and caregiving person, good sign you're imbalanced. If your heart chakra is blocked, you will have intense daddy issues. I'm just kidding, maybe. You're gonna have relationship issues, okay? Because again, your relationship with everyone starts with yourself. And if you don't love yourself, how can you love someone else? I was geeking out on Osho, the cult leader, but he had some very great ideas that influenced me in my thinking. He says there's 3 kinds of relationships: dependence and codependence. These are what most people are in. One person's dependent on the other person's like, you're smothering me. Codependence is where both people are like that. But then the third one, which is healthy, is interdependence, where you're both self-full enough that you come together and you become 3 instead of just 2. Because you have a relationship there together that's stronger, and that's the reason you're coming together in the first place. I will note here that some good things to increase this. If you don't have a relationship, you're like, I'm so lonely, oh my God. Petting animals can be great for this. Taking care of something that's, yours or not yours. Children, younger brother, younger sister, niece, nephew, that's a great way to heal this as well. Next up, we got blue, dabba-dee dabba-die. We're going with the throat chakra. Obviously, right here, this is in your neck. And its use is for communication because it's coming from the throat. Vocal cords, obvious. Speak your authentic truths. That's a good version. That's balanced. When you feel like you're expressing yourself good and you're speaking up for yourself and you can agree and disagree in a conversation respectfully, right? And just speak from your core. Great example of when this is balanced. Now, it's out of balance if you got secrets or silence or violence, okay? So if you feel like you're keeping secrets or you can't speak up or you have to hold your tongue around people, maybe at work, I just gotta remain quiet around that person. I can't stand them, that coworker. Becky, she always does that. Frickin' Becky. I will say, if you're a good communicator, that does not always mean that this is imbalanced. Just ask my girlfriend. She might say that my throat chakra is a little overactive. Clark, you got any exercises to close that thing? Silence and violence is something that I want to underscore for you. I got this from Crucial Conversations. Great book if you struggle with communication, especially with interpersonal communication. It's all about how there's 2 extremes, okay? When people get in a crucial conversation where the stakes are high, results matter, and opinions vary, those are the 3 things from it, you go to 1 or 2 extremes, okay? So some people, they go into violence mode. They feel challenged. You see this a lot in politics when people are discussing on the internet and they just start lashing out. Well, I bet you, blah, 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 fill in the blank, right? They're violent with it. They're like, because when people feel attacked with their beliefs, they feel attacked. And so they respond with violence. Silence is the other opposite. This is where I tend to be, believe it or not, in conversations or when things come up, I go into myself. I withdraw. I don't say anything. I have a hard time expressing myself. I can talk right now and sound articulate or like halfway there. But man, if I'm in a conversation where we're having a serious talk, I have a hard time expressing myself. And I get too in my head because I'm afraid to express it, and that's a silence extreme right there. Okay, so if you have either of those, that comes back to the throat chakra. But most of the time, people, if it goes back to speaking your truth and feeling like you can voice your opinions and that you matter. Next up, we got your third eye right here, okay? This is located between your eyes, as you can see by my elementary drawing right there. I'll actually pull a little weatherman and move over here. Today we got 1,020 degrees in Scottsdale, Arizona. What a surprise. This is associated with inner wisdom, okay? It's balanced if you can connect with your higher self, or you feel like you have a soul inside that's guiding you. If you feel like you're getting guidance from your higher self, good sign right there. If you have a lot of self-doubts and you're unsure about what you believe, or you feel like things are in a flux, you feel like you're learning, and the more you learn, the more you realize you don't learn, and what does this all mean anyways, I don't have any purpose. I feel depressed and lost in life. Okay, this is associated with your third eye. And a lot of times, my message for this channel, last night It was this morning. I woke up at 4 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I was so on fire to make videos for you. And we're talking about a lot of different ideas, and I feel like it's authentic. It's coming from my higher self. It's coming from a place where I can't even describe it. And so I journaled, like, one of the main things I want to give is that there's nothing to give, that you already have it within you. You're already enough. And learning isn't about the new thing, the new tactic, the new guru who's going to give you the plan. Here's how to live a fulfilled life, as much as it is reconnecting with your inner knowledge and what you already know. Long-winded way of saying, I'm trying to show you how to be more of you, not more of me, not more of anyone else out there. And one of my big pet peeves in the spirituality space, the deeper I get, and from a business marketing standpoint, I watch some of the gurus who have 1 million subscribers. It's like they're positioning themselves like, I have some secret knowledge that if you follow everything I say, maybe you'll be enlightened. And anyone who does that, bragging that they've been to the Himalayas, they play into like this cliche guru. Is that really authentic? Who knows? Maybe it is. I can just see through that and call BS immediately once I know marketing, and that is marketing to this idea that people have, these cliches of what a guru or what advice people are supposed to present themselves as. I'm trying to say it's fake. It's fake AF. And if you get real AF, you're going to be way freaking happier. You're going to be happy AF. And that's my whole mission on this channel with you. And hopefully, smash that like button if you agree, all right? Preach. But that's my whole mission, is I want to make you more of you, not more of other people, not a carbon copy of anyone else. And once you do that, you will be happier, and that is the entire secret. Last, and certainly not least, you have your crown chakra. This is violet. This is the top of the head, right? Your third eye is right here, crown's a little bit above that. And it's important to note here, when you see angels depicted or Jesus depicted in scriptures and drawings and stuff, what do you always notice? You notice a halo, almost like this crown floating above them, this light glowing from their head, enlightened beings, right? It's very interesting to note there. Maybe that's referring to the crown chakra right there, because this is associated with spirituality. When you're more spiritual, you realize that we're all connected, and what hurts other people or isn't good for other people isn't good for yourself. This is not a zero-sum game. For you to win doesn't mean someone else has to lose. We can all win together. And if anything, if other people are losing, that means that we're all losing, okay? Because we're a consciousness on the planet, like I showed you in those CIA docs, which is a great video you can geek out on. When you're disconnected from this, you experience intense isolation, okay? If you feel like I'm a lone wolf, Earth is a lonely place. I feel isolated. I feel alone. Well, that's not connected to the global consciousness. One point I want to illustrate now that we have these chakras up here. Remember at the beginning of this video, I gave you this light sound bridge, right? I gave you the engine analogy. One other analogy that Osho says in his writings, you can tell I've been geeking out on that stuff. Notice that there's 7 cycles here, okay? And as you get older, these start to develop. And Osho says that we have a 7-year cycle that we go through, and then we're essentially reborn. And what's crazy, and I get goosebumps, is that if you look at cellular biology, right, your cells are always turning over, they're going through autophagy, they're catabolizing themselves, and then the new ones pop up. Well, they say that about every 7 years, your entire body has essentially replenished itself. All your cells have made you into a new being, essentially, right? They've renewed themselves. And the only reason you're still the same and not liquidizing and falling apart like some jellyfish is because you got DNA structure, you have memory within those cells. So every 7 years, you go through a stage. 0 to 7, you're focused on survival, right? That's what Osho says. He says it's all about you. You're just trying to survive. You can't survive without a nurturing mother, right? Because they have to feed you. We're like one of the only animals where we can't walk out of the womb, right? We can't even crawl. We're very dependent. Then 7 to 14, you're getting more into this. This is when you go through puberty, things start to develop. 14 to 21, you're getting into wisdom. What do I actually believe? You develop this sense of I, these teenage years. Isn't this cool? And then your heart right here, regulating emotions. When you're 21 to 28, you normally get married. A lot of people do. You get in relationships. You find out what you want. 28 to whatever the heck plus 7 is. I failed elementary math. Communication. That's normally when you're in a corporate career, right? And you're moving up. 30s and 40s. Later on, you see people getting wise. They go, okay, now that I've developed, what about us as a whole? That's why you see wise elders. So I love that 7-year cycle that correlates to the chakras and the patterns of life. It's really beautiful. What's also beautiful is smashing the heck out of that like button. In the comments below, if you learned one thing new, I want you to post your biggest takeaway down there, okay? Comment your biggest takeaway from this video or something you want to add. Do you have anything to add to the conversation? Let's blow that comment section up with awesome comments down below. And also, if you want our free course, Law of Attraction in Action, that's in the link below as well, where we geek out all about your subconscious mind, how to manifest, some techniques, some stuff that'll blow your mind down there. If you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced, you will learn something new, I promise. So that is a free course. Get it while you can, because I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be available for until we swap it out with some new free gift for you. I'm Clark. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.